Dark, starring John and Danny.
What's going on, guys? I am back. I'm fighting fit. I have my voice. I don't have the constant desire to analyze the historical meaning of Elizabethan literature. So goodbye, the old world, and hello, Warhammer 40,000. 40K has had a busy couple of weeks, so join us as we get pretty grim after dark. Before we bring on our first co-host, I want to make sure everyone gets their tickets to the inaugural Frontline Gaming Rocky Mountain Open. The Rocky Mountain Open is the first ever cold certified tabletop gaming spectacular. The event will be held just outside Denver at the Adams County Fairgrounds, surrounded by beautiful Colorado scenery, most notably mountains, like in the old world where there were mountains before it got blown up. All are invited to join and spend a weekend rolling dice with awesome people. There's going to be championship level events for 40K, Age of Sigmar, and Star Wars Legion. Not any semblance of Warhammer Fantasy there, though, whatsoever. But now we have that out of the way. My first co-host today needs some retrogression. It's Danny McDevitt. I heard that one. That's good. Somebody say I brought back the Asian thing. I figured, I go away for a week. I might as well bring that. Our second co-host, Danny, go ahead, bring him in. I have him as the bespectacled baron of the Frontline Gaming Network.
Oh, yeah.
But also the obsessional overlord of Grim After Dark. But go ahead and
the Duke of Took, we've got Val Heffelfinger.
Yes, it's me. Back in more comfortable surroundings, I gotta say.
Didn't like the desk?
Well, I mean, it's a bit tight back there, bud. You got a lot of empties. I kept kicking them with my feet, causing some problems on the audio playback.
That's fair. It's real fair. Lots of empties about it. Now, last week, guys, we want to pull up this first slide here to explain what happened.
Slide already?
A combination of finals, critical analysis essay, and not being able to talk was a perfect combination to bring everyone back into the old world. And Danny, Val, after last week, I just have one question for you, which is going to be on this next slide here.
Yeah, totally on this next slide.
Yeah.
Love it.
We're nailing this.
Nailing this week. Slide 2. Why?
Yes. I already used this joke.
Yeah, for sure. That's
John, I'm flipping it back to you. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Because, generally we don't talk about games people don't really play.
What?
No,
that hurt.
Val just went to a tournament and played in a tournament with other humans.
The host should
Allegedly
not play the game. Not the game shouldn't be played by the host. It's just that's the rules here. We have a very specific style guide. But I want to share the show prep I found for last week and certain questions I'm disappointed we didn't get to, and I'm going to ask them to you now. So, guys, starting with Val, which came first, 40K fantasy or me in this conversation? Which was an actual question you had in our show notes.
It was a good bit. Adam Camilleri clearly came first. I mean, that was no doubt. That was clear almost immediately that he was post-coital. It was incredible.
He basically Scrooge McDucked his way. Might as well have Scrooge McDucked his way through his fantasy collection on the show. So if you can imagine, after coitus, that's got to be great.
Also, a show and tell episode for a podcast featuring out-of-print minis for a game that some people still play. Incredible content. I mean, it was, I believe, just a literal stroke of genius.
Wow, it was.
See, I brought it back
reviews
there.
are in. The reviews are in, though, and good job reading ahead on the notes. My cripplingly low self-esteem drove me to make sure the episode was bad in reviews. But people actually enjoyed it. As we're seeing here, we have Mark Horton saying this is like listening to the football team at a high school reunion.
I don't know if that's a glowing endorsement,
guys.
But accurate.
Question for you both, though. Yeah. Question for you both, though. What does that mean?
I actually instantaneously knew exactly what he meant. Just people talking in great amounts of jargon about old glories, I would say, and slapping each other on the back. I think it was a perfect description for what we did last week.
I think so. Danny, is it praise? I don't know enough about the American education system to know that or not. Yeah, big frontline silencing Danny because they're talking about models that aren't sold anymore.
Am I out?
Seems unusual.
No, there you go. You're back now. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What did you say? Did you say praised? What?
Yeah. Is it a praise to say that?
Oh,
it was like listening
appraised.
to people. Yeah. Is it praise?
No, is that
thing?
comment in praising us? Was it a good
Oh,
comment?
definitely
or a
not.
bad
Oh,
one?
was it praised?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
No,
I couldn't tell through John's thick Scottish accent, you guys. I'm sorry.
Also, when did you come to that country? Like, aren't you basically at least as American as I am at this point? Like, I don't think you can hide behind, the cultural differences card. Like, you probably, what would you call this hat? Quick, what would you call this hat?
An och. But I've only been here 19 years. So
Only 19
no, 18.
years.
18. Close enough.
Yeah.
All I know is this week I went from supporting Senegal sports to French sports. Moving on. Anyway, someone from Grim After Dark's very own Grimcord, which we switched over last week, reviewed the episode as well, saying, I genuinely loved last night's Grim After Dark and want more fantasy content from you folks. It was awesome seeing some of my favorite 40k personalities and Val talking about a game I really loved from back in the day. Guys, how does
I don't think that person wasn't even trying to burn me, but definitely that was a Freudian slip of a burn, I think.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah. No, and Mark. But how does it feel, guys, to be on the cutting edge of Warhammer fantasy podcasting? Because for the next couple of years, last episode of Grim After Dark will be the most up-to-date Warhammer fantasy podcast for the next at least year to 18 months.
Well, as a deviant of Warhammer fantasy content currently being produced, there are no fewer than 2 active podcasts covering one active podcast, one defunct, one called The Elector Counts because they're Australian, so you know what they're going for there, the C word. Yeah. And then the other one called another name that I'm blanking on. That's the one that's still functioning, and definitely the host tunes in from on occasion.
Yeah, you guys heard it here. Somewhere, someone has something to say about Warhammer Fantasy, and they record it.
There's also the Old World Lives, which is a Swedish 6th edition podcast. But we're grasping at straws now.
That's fair. Hey guys, the people want to know, when does the second episode of 25% Lords record for general release on the Frontline Gaming Network?
So clearly not an End Times podcast.
No.
We don't want that 50% Lords allocation. No. Danny, when do we do it?
Whatever you want.
Awesome, scintillating.
Scintillating stuff.
Also,
the best way to guarantee something happens is leave it to Val to plan.
Yeah, Val, do you want to put it on the whiteboard?
I've assembled a friggin' dream team to put together the LVO stream right now. You want to shift gears here, guys? We have got a crack squad of not me putting together one hell of a fucking show, to the point where I actually said out loud in Frontline's marketing meeting today that I would like marketing. This is how is the extent of my hubris at this point. And Frontline Gaming right behind us.
We're going to go more in January. January is going to be huge LVO month, as we usually do, going big into the Las Vegas Open. But this year, comfortable to say, the biggest and best coverage ever. Past, present, and future. It's going to be amazing. But what's the next game that we go back and do reminiscing episodes on? So we've had a lot of feedback from people over after last week that they really enjoyed you guys and the passion you had about Warhammer Fantasy. What's the next game we talk about?
I just bought a bunch of Song and Ice and Fire miniatures this week.
Did you really?
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I showed my
I feel
wife,
like
and
this
she was like, "I'll play that game," and I'm like, "We're getting some miniatures, then, baby."
oh, girl. Song of Ice
made
and
the
Fire and
mistake.
Chill. Nice.
Yeah, great series of articles on frontlinegaming.org on
Oh,
that
yeah.
miniature system. Yeah, a little bit of cross pro. Val, what's a dead game system you want to talk about?
That game system.
Yeah.
I don't know, Gorka Morka.
Oh,
It would actually
dude,
be.
we're doing
Well,
Gorkamorka.
we have Necromunda, that fancy new Necromunda now. And actually, I played Gorka Morka at such like a tender young age that I'm sure I had absolutely no idea what was going on. So I genuinely don't know if Gorka Morka was any good at all.
It was, dude, it was literally my favorite. We'll go back. Like, how you feel about 8th edition fantasy is how I feel about Gorkamorka. Like, I would just destroy the world for a new version. Chat's going, Kelsey. Oh, my OMG, is John and Danny, I think you meant are John and Danny, going to be doing the coverage for the LVO? Sort of. It's going to be amazing, though. And seconding Gorkamorka in chat, I think we're going to have an episode coming up where we do focus on that amazing game system. Because it was a big turning point for the Orc Rage in general for GW. So I
for sure.
enjoy that part.
Stylistically, right? Like 100%.
Stylistically, for sure. It was a very important milestone in GW's past.
But after they casted the plastics, because Brian Nelson did all of the amazing orc miniatures and sort of redefined what an orc looked like for Games Workshop. But the plastics that come in the box are some of the worst looking, derpiest orcs that you have ever seen in your life. So, yeah.
They're pretty bad.
Oh, they're brutal.
And
Danny,
those bases. Oh my
they were
God!
the
Come
worst.
on.
Oh God, yeah. Anyway, it's not Gorkamorka Day today. Soon, probably. But Danny, you didn't just stop at setting the old world ablaze, as you also stepped up to the plate to help out over on the Thursday show a couple of times. So tell us about your time over at the Thursday show.
Well, first of all, I'd like to clarify it was only the one time. Okay, guys.
Well,
like,
we do have this beautiful
Thursday show
still
go back to normal. Like,
we do have this beautiful still that was pulled up by someone and sent to me. Why don't you use your beautiful way of describing the tactical analysis being provided by this slide here?
So you can see Adam is calm and collected. He's really got the eye of the tiger. Whereas I am just furious at this man. I'm not sure why. I imagine it probably has something to do with the army that he took. But we all know what's in the army. And I'm raging. And then yeah, that's basically. And then Dustin's down there at the bottom, just smiling away, laughing at our antics. Doesn't he
look pleasant?
What's that?
He just looks like he looks downright just delightful in that shot.
Jovial.
Just like just having the best time.
Why was I so angry?
So that picture was joking the army list that Dave Gaylord was bringing to the event was the same old shit of Tzeentch Demons and Thousand Suns. Is that the best metal list right now in 40K, Danny?
No.
Or what is the best metal list?
I mean, I think that Emperor's Children and Tzeentch Demons list is really, really good. I think it's better than the Thousand Suns one. Excuse me. And then, God, I don't know. Votan's really good too right now. Votan's great, and Guard are really good. So I think there's like probably 3 contenders for like that are definitely in the running every time you set up to an event.
Amazing. Talk to us while we're doing Thursday Show Light here. There was an event over the weekend called Slaneshmas up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Super good thing. Talk to us about Tim Hubscher's list from Slaneshmas.
All right. So this is a very specific call out to one individual who has a random major. Anyway, this major was great. I really was bummed I couldn't make it. I've got finals this week, so I normally would drive over for the events. Jason Birds, he does a great job there. But our friend from Alaska flew down and decided to bring a Sokar Stormbird. And I think he's got like 30 Plague Marines in the list too. And I think that's basically the entire list.
Some Poxwalkers in there as well.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, great.
Did you get a scoop on how he transported the Sotar? Like, did he get a seat on the plane? Did he check it?
I think one of our other friends who lives in Washington now had it at his house and he just borrowed it. So
okay.
yeah, I don't know how he transports that. Oh God, who would know that? Yeah, anyway. Someone does.
Someone. So talking
Somebody.
to Tim about this list, he says to me such great tactical things as, it is 1,000 points for a table-wide redeploy. Daddy, what does he mean by this?
I have no idea. I guess they get out of the transport.
Get in one end and come out the other. Because the plane is so large, it counts as a redeploy.
I guess Votan is Xenos, because it sounds like that army could really use some cum weapons.
Oh, don't you worry, Val. Sir Val. We're gonna get to the cum weapons.
Yeah, that's coming later.
That's later. It's coming soon. But it was an amazing list. He went 3-3, which for taking 1,000-point giant Forge World model that doesn't actually fit on any table, it's a really good record.
John, remember, it's not just 3-3. It's 3-0 first day and then lost.
That is an I mean, compared to every tournament's Warhound Titan guy, that is outstanding performance.
Outstanding.
Not quite as good as Val's Town R run, but nonetheless, very
not
good.
That far off of it. Yeah.
What about
Seth
like 100
Oster,
Fire Warriors, Val? Is that a good army?
Terrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible army. Never do it. Also, I'm having flashbacks now. You triggered some PTSD problems.
I'm sorry. I really do apologize.
You should.
I
deserve it. Deserve it
all. But other majors happened last weekend as Seth Oster from Signals from the Frontline spent the weekend competing at Warzone Atlanta, ending the weekend at a respectable 12th place with a 4-3 record. 4-3 record overall with his Votan, which I'm assuming was some just bullshit beam thing. I'm not going to lie. I think if Thursday show was to cover it, it would be 3 words on a slide. Same old Votan stuff. The real question, though, was asked by the Haunted Bagel on Twitter here, who said, Seth Oster's parole officer was present at his Warzone Atlanta games. Could you give us more details? So, guys, let's go to the bottom of this. Let's get to the bottom of this mystery about this gentleman.
Can I do the description?
Yeah, please do.
Describe captioning. Basically, looks like Christopher Walken in a Honda branded baseball cap and a leather jacket, sitting next to the War Games Live setup. Would you concur on that description, Danny?
I think he looks more like John McCain, but.
The re-risen, back from the dead John McCain.
Nothing can stop that man.
What it looks like for me, if you guys have ever watched Arrested Development, it looks like the life model decoy.
Yeah, it does look like the good description. The proxy,
the life proxy. Is what it looks like there. Who is this person though, guys? Get to the bottom of this. Why was he hanging around Seth's table? I have the answer. I did my research, but I want to hear what you guys think.
It's quite a tale, John. And
good.
It involves a late night at the Bird Laboratory, and a lot of drinking. Anyway, so long story short, Seth is no longer allowed into any national aviaries, and also Chuck E. Cheese. So so this guy's got to stand by him. There was a Chuck E. Cheese within 100 feet of this venue, I believe.
Yes. Val, anything else you want to add to that there?
I was going to say that the knee braces that Seth has been wearing recently they came with a contractual obligation to be maintained by a member of the Honda pit crew that works on the open wheel racing Indy team that happened to be in town. So it was actually fortunate for Seth that he could get quick real pit jobs there on those braces.
I'm glad he could get sponsored like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Val, this might be familiar to you. It was actually a guy called Andrew Ford, who is described to me as a powerhouse from 8th edition. Apparently making a comeback to play 40K again after seeing Seth's weak competitive showing Warzone Atlanta.
Fair.
Yeah.
So
fair.
this is a 8th edition fantasy player.
8th edition 40K player.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
from your
sorry,
era,
yeah.
How is he an 8th edition powerhouse and we don't know of this man? Andrew Ford. Where's the Falcon? Falcon? Who is this man?
It's a Stat Centre era level person.
Literally,
yeah.
Rob Symes is bringing a large piece of luggage containing a high amount of fantasy models that I traded him some stuff for.
yeah.
Did you trade him a plane ticket to Vegas?
No, I did not trade him a plane ticket to Vegas, but some other useful stuff. And I literally messaged Peter the Falcon to ask him if he could see any Canadians in the field at the Everwinter GT. Because I need someone to hump those models back across the border for me. I need a plastic mule. So if you're going to the Everwinter GT in Boston, Massachusetts, and you want to come up to Canada and get some good beer or something, just let me know. Holler at me. Or maybe you live in Buffalo or Western New York and you want to take Rob Symes' worst piece of luggage packed to the gills, including a Tamura can, like giant reptile Nurgle thing, just some incredible stuff in there. It will look like drugs. It is going to be wrapped in cellophane. It's going to look like the most suspicious package of all time. I can't wait.
If you plastic mule for Val, for 2 weeks, we will put your name on the Grim After Dark couch through the power of a text box. And really, you can't get any better than that. Danny, girls going on the whiteboard. Heck yeah. Danny, we've been playing a ton of Darktide recently.
We
Warhammer
have
40K Darktide, where I can't say the next part here because I'm waiting for good old Val to finish ignoring the idea on the whiteboard. My zealot, my very lovely zealot, Fascal Rats, love him so much, says this very reasonable thing: blood for the Emperor, skulls for the Golden Throne, which is in no way, concerning at all. What are your thoughts, Danny, on Darktide so far?
Well, so I've only played the Psyker so far, but it's been really fun shooting people with mind bullets and then exploding little cultists' head. I mean, it's a really, really fun game, though. I really like the cooperation and teamwork aspect of it. Yeah, it's really fun.
Saturday night, we had a really good 4-player party going through with one from each class. The best part was about every 15 minutes or so, a barrel would explode that would blow me off the map entirely. Really out of nowhere.
Why don't we queue up like, I don't know, next week or something? We can do a Darktide episode. I can try and produce Grim After Dark. We can do like a picture in picture.
Well,
I'll try. We'll do this show with us
playing
all at our
Darktide?
computers playing Darktide in picture of someone in the party playing Darktide. We'll inception this piece.
Well, let's do that. So yeah, next week will be Darktide. Oh damn, it's on the whiteboard. We can't do it anymore. But likely what's going to start happening here pretty soon is we are going to start streaming some gameplay on a different night. Once I talk to Val about the ins and the outs, is there are going to be some fun game streams, because honestly, the Saturday night party was Danny and I, a couple of our friends. It was a lot of fun, especially when our friend Joe purposely screwed our friend Josh several times and then denied it. It was a fantastic time. I will say though, we aren't good at it. So when you do watch next week, one, played with production issues. That's just sort of a given. Two, not very interesting because we're not very good. But it's amazing. Anyway, guys.
So just think of how good it would be if we were also trying to change PowerPoint slides at the same time. I think we got something here.
Well,
think we got, and think of the podcast content that we would generate playing a video game and podcasting poorly.
Oh
Kelsey and chat going, streaming a video game, the best content for a podcast.
Nailed it. Thank you.
Perfect.
Kelsey and me on the same page.
Perfect. Yeah. Guys, Germany is at it again. Not content with getting knocked out of the World Cup by Japan. They are now printing slightly different versions of the rules. This time it says the Cryptek Army of Renown gets rerolls to all reanimation protocols. Danny, do you believe the German version is a mistake, or was this how this rule should go?
Oh, it's definitely not a mistake. That's how the rule should be.
And is that you as a Necron player saying that, or you
Yes.
as just you? Okay.
Unequivocally, yes. Yeah. Look, sorry guys, I'm biased. Yeah, I absolutely do think that. Necrons need it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. Totally fair. Tell us about this Army of Renown.
Oh yeah, what a cool Army of Renown. It's got a lot of it's got Cryptex, Necron warriors, and any of the Canoptic units that you might want to take in your army. Yeah, go ahead.
Where is this being found, this Army of Renown? I thought we weren't doing this anymore.
We're doing what?
Well, I thought Armies of Renown were dead. Is this like a White Dwarf thing? Like what's
Yeah.
All right, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Val just reading ahead one question and asking that question. It's perfect.
Oh shoot, my bad. I was just
No, you're
genuinely didn't know. I thought we were done with these.
No. But yeah, what does this Army of Renown do for Necrons?
Oh, nothing. I mean, it's more fun to play maybe than like just the standard Silent King build that everyone's taking. So I just like to see maybe a few different units on the table that you wouldn't normally find. Mm-hmm. Like I love Tomb Spiders. They become better. Wraiths with whip coils are like crazy. They can get like 50 attacks each or something. I have to look at that again, but it's an insane amount of attacks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So guys, and to bring Val kind of back into this here, what are your guys' thoughts on White Dwarf becoming the home for extra rules? GW's kind of come out and said that campaign supplements are going to have no more extra rules. They're going to be purely sort of like narrative books. But now we're seeing, I think this is our 4th or 5th Army of Renown that's happening in White Dwarf. What's your view on it being kind of in the monthly magazine as opposed to a campaign supplement?
I mean, not great, probably. Although, luckily, I do think that they are putting back issues of White Dwarf onto the vault 6 months behind. It might even be 3 months behind. In either way, seasons last between 3 and 6 months. So, problematic.
Yeah,
problematic.
I was going to say, like, that would be fine if they put the White Dwarf rules in a little bit quicker into the vault, right? Like,
also, I mean, to be fair, from what I understand, you can't buy the GT packs anyway. So,
right.
As long as it's hosted appropriately on Wikipedia.ru, I don't think that there'll be an issue.
We have these things with the GT packs now as well, and Danny, you can kind of weigh in on this, where technically by the letter of the rules, the League of Votan have no faction-specific secondaries they can use in competitive play.
Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Nobody plays it that way.
I'm just like, is that kind of a problem of the way this is kind of coming in and the lack of updates that are coming from TW about it?
Well, it's probably the problem with this has to do not with any of that, but with the adherence to a printed rule structure. Whereas having online rules and online rules references would alleviate a lot of these issues that they have, like with like silly interactions like this. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like that kind of stuff is silly. And sometimes they just write bad rules, like the Aegis Defense Line rules are really terrible and people are really excited about the new model. But like, if you actually read the rules for it, it doesn't actually do anything except for the guys in the little cup at the top, because it's an area terrain and not a barricade. Or an obstacle, rather. Yeah.
They even still make the Aegis Defense Line? Is that even a thing you can buy?
They're making a new one.
Yeah, they're making a new one for the guard book. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the guard book here. It's a brand new Aegis Defense Line.
They just did a preview article for it on Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer Community today, Val, as well.
See, the problem is
I'm 10 out of 10 excited to play Warhammer Fantasy. I was ready to answer that question right off the bat. So, like, I want to do it. I want to play like right now, and I can't, John.
No, because you got to talk about 40K.
And in fairness, the reason why I'm out to lunch and all this stuff is that I have been refreshing WarhammerFantasy.com for like constantly, and it just keeps coming back as a vaguely Eastern European porn site. I don't know why, but that's just what it is these days.
Yeah, not actually Eastern European, just it hints towards an Eastern European nature.
Like tropes, a lot of like common Eastern European pornographic tropes. You know what they are.
Yeah, that's fair. And if you
floor.
don't, you do. Do you guys, so like I said, we're seeing a lot of this additional content appearing in White Dwarf now going forward. Do you guys feel the White Dwarf in sort of the modern publishing age can remain relevant without adding in extra rules and armies of renown in kind of a semi-frequent basis?
It needs something, right? Like it needs to have some kind of enticement to buy. I think they would do. I just think it's better as digital content now. Like it's tough to have. Like a printed release is great, and I think that's a lot of people still want that. But I think that releasing the rules online is like not for free, obviously. But I think that that's probably more beneficial to a lot of people.
Yeah, Val.
You know, I mean, I'm holding out hope that, you know, whatever 10th looks to be is, you know, more or less a digital rule set. I think there's some other stuff too that's indicating that they're looking to offload some stuff from the print, such as Guard not having any actual secondaries printed in their book. I don't know if you literally just said that, but I think there are signs to be hopeful. But then also, what might happen is they might realize that suddenly they're not selling as many books, and then it's all just crushed immediately by terrible decision making. So you never know how this is all going to pan out. And if there ever is a digital subscription allowed or created that allows us to have access to rules, I highly recommend signing up for it. Because it could go, you know, it would. I would be hopeful that it be supported and that the community reacts strongly because it is the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Do armies of renown, Danny, have a place in competitive 40K?
Yeah.
Or should these ones just be for narrative play?
No, I'm fine as long as they're balanced. Like that's the key, right? Is to maintain this set of balance. I think they're flavorful, and you know that's one of the best parts about 40K right now is like faction secondaries. I think are really awesome. Like each army playing the game in a slightly different way is really cool, and I would like to see more supplements to like make these armies even more unique. I really like that stuff.
Kelsey coming in hot in chat saying could be worse, could charge $1,000 for 4 random proxy models, which I think is a reference to Magic the Gathering and how they're doing their anniversary box set.
Oh, yeah.
Would you do that, Danny, for 40K? If they had $200 blind model box for your faction, would you purchase it?
Oh, for my faction?
If you're like, it's a Necron model, it will never be released again. Not going to show it to you.
Yeah,
$200.
probably.
Oh, they got you.
I
Hey,
know.
there's a new trend. There's a new trend, and I don't like it. Right here on eBay for sale, 1 Necron, 100 coats of lead belcher. Danny, tell me what you see in this picture. Val, put up the picture for Danny.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
We're trying, guys. Okay,
Damn.
here we are. All right, so we have an Indominus era Necron warrior model who has been sprayed with lead belcher and let it dry so many times that he appears to have kind of a melted consistency. His face, all the eye sockets are totally gone. He's just kind of spidery limbs and a really thick ass gun. I'm surprised some of the detail is still coming through on it, to be honest, but you can see some of the detail on it for sure.
You can. Val, what's some of the detail you notice on that beautiful model?
Well, it's an updated Necron warrior, so you don't have the old Goss barrel there. You can still see some of the lovely new detailing. It's not just that plastic thing. So you know that who did this, which was Midwinter Minis, you know, they invested into the project. They didn't just go grab the stuff at the bottom of the bin. They went to the top of the bin of stuff that he doesn't use to coat in many coats of lead belcher.
That's fair. And Val, just if you want to get ready to switch slide here in a second and put it up, but wait a second. It doesn't just stop at lead belcher, guys.
Right.
Danny, please describe this next slide for the audio listener.
So this is a demonette painted with, this is the title, I'm sorry. A demonette painted with 100 coats of Ard coat. So if you can imagine a painted demonette and then just spooge all over the model. Thick, draping over the arms.
Yeah. Ooey gooey.
The claws look particularly sticky and just really thick in the
Gummed
claws.
up. Real gummed up.
Real gummed up.
Guys,
There's a sort of dress made of.
The Demonette was an interesting choice for the art coat, I will say.
I was going to say, was it an intentional choice for the figure to be a feminine figure? Or was that a lucky coincidence?
John, it's certainly a choice.
I think this might be one of those Freudian slips coming through again, much like the cum weapon and all of our cum jokes. I'm not sure that this was.
Yeah,
I'm not sure this was entirely intentional. But you could just slap the Brazzers logo on there, and you got lots of different content.
Yeah, guys, would it be more realistic if it was a Space Marine with 100 coats of hard coat on it?
Is it a female Space Marine?
No. That was a
No,
regular.
if it's an Ultramarine, though, then I kind of understand again.
I will say, and I'm just going to note this: that are these closed? Are these auctions completed? Were these completed auctions? Oh no, this is one. No, okay. The second one might have been because it's bid up quite a bit.
Dude, somebody finished. That's all I know. And that auction is.
What's the current bid at?
This is
220 pounds here.
Yeah, okay. This is a couple weeks old. I want to talk about this last week before I was pulled aside by historical comparisons. But again, we do have to ask the important question that was raised earlier in the show and last week. And on this next slide here, why? This will be a recurring. This is a recurring slide.
Why?
I love it very much. Why?
Well, I mean,
war happened in the far past of the old world as well as in the future.
Garrett Turner came in chat with the best comment towards that last art-coded miniature with the grossest part about it is the shipping. And if that doesn't describe a Warhammer player to the T, great job. That's very important.
I mean, we are viewing these out of context. I believe this was some form of a fundraiser, was it not? You guys, you did no background on this.
I'm sorry, are we journalists now? Because I need to know that before I start posting memes.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure this was a fundraiser for like a genuinely probably good cause. Danny just sneaking a quick nip there as he deletes some harsh meme fire. I'm pretty sure it was for a genuinely good cause, and maybe even commendable. Who knows?
Well, I'm looking it up right now, so keep on talking. It's perfect.
Yeah, Midwinter Minis is a confusingly popular YouTuber.
Maybe be a little bit more positive about it.
Well, no, he just has the gentlest voice in the world. I honestly think all of his videos are just like a nice hug at bedtime.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I can only assume that there was just a delightful charitable intent behind the very soggy Demonette that we just looked at.
Yeah, chat letting us know that Demonette made me delete my internet history. So it did. It was a good cause.
Not the naked Eldar army that we saw.
Scratch that joke from your Type 5, Joel. I have the Type nothing. Moving on. Guys, we are not young men anymore, with almost everyone here being younger than Val. But this cartoon hit home hard. Looking at here with the next slide coming up, tournaments in your early 20s are fun but a little tiring. Tournaments in your 30s, fatigue, back pain, hangover, terrible times. Danny, as someone who is a regular player on the tournament scene, as Val takes a picture for some reason, scary. How do you prepare?
Because you're old.
How do you prepare physically for a 5-round event?
No, I don't, John. I just kind of show up and I sweat a lot.
just shows up and degrades. It just the turbo meter is probably about half, and then it just goes down from there.
Right.
You know, if you want to get a combo breaker off on Danny, you're gonna just wait about round 3, I think.
Yeah, and then I'll be tired. I'll be like, all right, whatever.
Stamina low.
Fuck, I'm just gonna sit down.
That's fair. What about so mentally? Like, how do you prepare? Because, like I said, LVO's coming up. There's a lot of majors now around the circuit, and 5-6 rounds over a weekend of Warhammer can be very kind of mentally draining. So, how do you prepare to maximize your enjoyment out of every round? God, please don't say winning.
I mean, that's a good way.
It's not true though. It's just not accurate.
Yeah.
So what I try and do is I don't know. This is going to sound lame. Like I try and sit down more. Whereas before the first round,
that's the fantasy player's approach. You sit down,
have a seat,
take it easy,
drink a beer. Like you're going to have a good time.
Use your croupier stick to move your models around.
Right, except when your opponent wheels wrong with that stupid 90-degree arc line of sight thing. Like, that's not right. Don't do that. Anyway. I try and sit down more. I try and drink a lot of water. In addition to whatever other drinks I'm partaking in, I try and like limit that if I can, because that definitely makes me feel worse the second day. And the night after the first night, don't party super hard. You can party like a medium hard.
Medium hard.
Medium hard. And then still get to class the next day and teach some lessons in pain.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of your ways to stay fresh, Danny, throughout the day?
Well, John, I keep a spare stick of deodorant in my backpack, and I use that.
What a champion! Yeah, please, when you're at these events, please wear deodorant. What are some ways, and Val, you can jump on in here too. What are some ways you've injured yourself at tournaments?
Wow, guys, I haven't. I'm not gonna lie. Really, you're standing at worst. Maybe bending at most. Quite frankly, this is not. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every GT I've competed in has actually taken place in my 30s. So the maker of this meme, you know, I mean, yeah, that's they're down.
You never played a tournament in your 20s though, Val. You have no frame of reference. You're like a small child that's wandered into a strange room. Like,
demands to know what's going on. Well, perhaps. Although I have been struggling to understand what's been going on with our viewership. It's a bit lower than usual. My first gut was probably not fantasy content, like maybe the number one driver. But then I realized Monday Night Football's on, so I was just that's the photo I took was just, you know, so that everyone could see that just like everyone else is watching the show. That is the right way to participate here. Also, I can't believe I can't believe that people would not watch our show to watch a 16-3 game between New Orleans and Tampa Bay. It's insulting.
Well, those are all great words, and I'm sure it means a lot, and it's important that they balled, and it's good. The League of Votan got FAQ'd, guys, with beam weapons, ironically, forcing the Votanians to take a major hit. Danny, go ahead, describe the change that happened.
Oh, this is the stupidest change. Like, who greenlit this? Like, okay,
Games
so
Workshop.
The rule specifically states that, like,
who could have done this?
Why would you do this? That's what I want to understand. Like, why? Like, so the rules for beam specifically state that you can't hit ineligible targets. However, Games Workshop.
Danny, I think you knocked your mic off kilter there with your indignance.
Enrage.
Sorry, my back. I'm so mad.
You're back.
So, like. So, like, why? Like, okay, so you had these ineligible targets that couldn't normally be hit, which was friendly units, and also it blocks out characters from getting beamed to death. But now, like, you also now randomly have to watch out for your own models and their own units. Like, so if you have a beamer in the second rank, you're going to do a hit to your own squad, like, every single time you shoot it. Or if you have a squad of Thunderkin, they're going to shoot themselves a bunch of times unless they move out of the way. It's just bad. It's just bad. Like, why?
Now, I just noticed that you referred to having a beamer in your second rank. Now, do the beamers in the second rank come armed with cum weapons.
They are mining cum weapons. So,
Yeah.
they're adapted for war
Yeah.
use. Yes, that is correct, Val.
Well, this person here in the
You
League
don't
of
want a
Votan
beamer in your
40K
second
page,
rank with a mining cum weapon. That's a
Sad.
sticky situation.
and
It's the
Danny,
22-inch line of death, Val, in fact.
Danny, I now believe this was you who wrote this comment here, but
It wasn't. It wasn't.
GW are idiots that don't understand their own rules, so this beam nerf breaks their own core rule targets for shooting rule. Only enemy units can be chosen as a target for an attack. Then the beam rule says each time an attack is made with such weapon, if a hit is scored, draw a line between the closest point of this model's base, not of the closest model in the target unit. Make one wound roll against the target unit, and each other unit this line passes over, excluding units that were not eligible to be targeted by this weapon when targets were selected.
Don't
My
forget
I
God,
think the caps lock
listeners.
probably more accurately reads excluding units that were not eligible to be targeted.
Right.
I think would be more way to do that.
that's fair. That's probably,
Think of Chris Farley
Mhm.
when you do that, and it would be a pretty good, like,
That's
not that
pretty
you look
good,
like
yeah.
Chris Farley, Val, but like the level of
Sounds
energy
like
and
it.
physical comedy.
Yeah.
Step back from the
I-
mic, and I have a compressor on, so hopefully that didn't hurt everybody.
I will say, it works because you're not targeting your own unit. The weapon merely hits your own unit.
And then they're
and
not, and then it says that they're kind of like hits. It describes them as hits, and then says, but for all rules purposes, they are not hits.
No, they are just wounds.
God, terrible. Just like
Uh,
stick with, I don't know.
It's okay. Hey, this person though coming up here, and the lowest pixel resolution I could find, correct the code. As they said, the FAQ is inapplicable at this point. Beam weapons only affect eligible units, and friendly units are not eligible units.
Wow. What a
Yeah.
dumb shit. Like, look, like, sorry. I don't, anyway, like, what, but like, literally, that's the whole contention of this argument.
I literally have the guard book in front of me. You can't make jokes when I'm having a drink.
Come on,
Ugh.
man. Like, that's the entire crux of the argument. Like, that obvious statement. Thank you. Of course,
Yeah. But hey, the important thing to remember about this, one, that's how it works. Whine some more. That's how it works. But two, this next person corrects the further code by saying, Warhammer Community is not an official part of Games Workshop. It is a hired on social media wing, paid by them, but not part of the company, with a history of going off half-cocked about social issues.
What?
Or just getting things wrong about upcoming GW releases. Guys, can you spot maybe one or two small errors or wrong information in this message here?
So I mean, this is one. I think this is a pretty classic Games Workshop community member grasp at straw, in which there's a dissonance between the reality this person is confronted with and the reality that exists in reality. That being that the Warhammer community team, the Warhammer community team is in fact entirely employed directly by Games Workshop. This is actually the not actual real Games Workshop argument often used when people are critical of Forge World stuff. A little out of vogue these days because they're not as making disruptive things. But like there's always this wishful thinking that, oh well, that's not the real Games Workshop, therefore it doesn't count. Triple locked at Black Magic, no take backsies, I think is roughly the schoolyard logic that we are being confronted with here.
Mm-hmm. Danny, he does have a point though about kind of some mistakes that we've seen recently in the past couple of years from Warcom in regards to sort of releases or information that's kind of given out about new stuff coming in. What do you guys think is the cause of some of those incorrect information articles that have gone out accidentally from Warcom?
Okay, yeah. I mean, mistakes happen, right? Like stuff gets
No,
wrong or
false.
something like that.
No,
they're not allowed.
Everything is 100% perfect all the time.
Siloed workforces trying to hit deadlines with imperfect information, and the same reading comprehension as likely the author of this comment,
or more.
Yeah. Also, they farm out some of those articles. Every single person on your screen right now has written an article for that site, which does not say great things about that site.
I've written two.
You are almost college-educated English person.
Almost.
Which, as a Scotsman, that must cause some inner conflict.
It sure does. But man, I love hating myself.
And I got my BA in 7 years. So, like, we are educated, and Danny will get us out of jail someday. So, like, these are all things that are, like, I don't think us having written content for Warhammer community, gone through the process and been to the meetings and suffered through the hazing rituals and blown through the kazoo decoder rings. Like, these are things that I think are a normal part of joining an organization.
I will say my article was edited post-submission, between submission and publishing, because I made what I feel anyway, a wonderful joke about the Imperial Fists always being murdered to a man. And that joke was completely removed from the article.
When you started the bit with a joke I wrote about the Imperial Fists being censored, I was expecting something a little more graphic than that. So that's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that when my MetaWatch article was published however long ago, it was actually barely touched. I think there were some grammar changes made. And it was, I don't know, like they exercised no editorial flex on us. So I don't know. I thought they were really great.
Yeah, just I'm bad at writing. Where
You're
does
an English major, so you'll be better now.
I can analyze the shit out of writing. I just can't do it myself. But where does Warcom sit in the community for you guys in regards for news? Is it kind of like, is it all must read? Is it something you guys sometimes check? Do you go to Warcom daily? Like, where does Warhammer community sit for you guys?
When I had an office job and I had to be somewhere at 8 a.m. every morning, I definitely checked Warhammer community every single day. But as time has gone on, I check it a lot less frequently. I think I probably check it like 3 times a week, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Val, do you, like, you're not super actively involved aside from, all of the stuff you do in the 40K game right now. What's kind of your level of checking Warcom?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm all over it all the time. But I do check in on it, especially if something notable goes through one of my chat groups or something. I'll pop over to Warcom. I think one thing about Warcom that we take for granted now is like how, like, the fact that information is being like disseminated and told to us frequently. In fact, multiple times a week, sometimes multiple times a day. Before, this was all just like rumors from like weird lifer retail managers and stuff. When GW had no online presence, barely was barely publishing White Dwarf. They had that weird pamphlet that they did it was a weekly White Dwarf. It was a weekly magazine.
It was a weekly.
Yeah.
Jeez, so crazy.
They had 2. So you had White Dwarf, which was basically a weekly advert for stuff that was coming out. And you had Warhammer Visions, which was really, to be fair, amazing photography and setups of the miniatures and the pictures. But that was the monthly publication, was Visions.
But anyway, we are coming up to about like 5 years of this, but like once upon a time it was like community guessing that happened. Actually, this reminds me, I've told this story so many times, but like I remember one of my favorite people on the Canhammer podcast, just when Warcom came out, it was so counter to the way Games Workshop had been behaving that he literally didn't believe that it could be Games Workshop. It was a hoax. That
he wrote that
Warhammer
tweet
community
about it.
wasn't real. Like just like that guy being like the Warhammer community team is a hoax. This idea lives. But yeah, like
so.
Yeah, made podcasting harder because we're just talking about news instead of making it up.
Is Warcom a worthy successor to Fayette 212?
That website's still going, right?
It is. Yeah.
That's cool. Is it a worthy successor to the long dead gone website at 212?
Rip. When Fayette 212 and Blood of Kittens went down, I mean that was the end of an era, I think, in wargaming websites. No, I think even a slightly more competent version of Fayette 212, I think you could definitely call, maybe the production value or like the quality of the writing, maybe a little higher than Fayette 212. I don't know.
that is where I got literally all of my news before Warcom. So it was
Yeah,
a great
pretty
site.
much.
Still is. But hey, guys, let's rant a little bit about fandom. We've been pretty restrained so far tonight until I found this guy here on Twitter, which is at the time of publishing still up. But reading 5 $8 books, they was on sale, makes me more of a fan than someone who buys $500 worth of 25 minis plastic. This one kind of bothered me a
Can we
lot.
parse this one? What reading 5 $8 books, they were on sale, makes me more of a fan than someone who buys $500 worth of 25 minis, $500 worth of plastic. Okay, which is
25
brackets, 25 minis. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
with it now.
uses
Yep.
inconsistent punctuation throughout this.
Yeah,
You know.
for sure. Is there different levels of fandom within 40K?
Yes.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, we're
think
at
you
the
would
tip
agree
of the
with that, right,
pyramid,
Tom?
guys. We're like, we're either right at the bottom of the iceberg or the tip of the pyramid, boys. I don't know which one, but I feel like I'm drowning most of the time. So I'm gonna go bottom of the iceberg for us.
That's fair. That's fair. We do check the bottom of the barrel a lot. What's your sort of opinion on gatekeeping someone based on someone's kind of knowledge? Like, so this is, I think, what bothers me the most about this sort of message is the idea that you're not a real fan because you haven't read 1,200 pages of Black Library fiction.
I mean, yeah, gatekeeping kind of sucks, dude. I'm like, right?
Wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to cough button hard.
I-
Yeah.
Look,
yeah.
I think that there is kind of an idea out there, right? That if somebody has spent, that much time kind of like reading literature about it, like that they maybe are more of an expert. I guess maybe that's where kind of this argument is coming from. I just think it's kind of lame.
I mean,
Lame in that respect.
I don't want to, like cause too much self-reflection here, but I mean, it did just occur to me that we are a show predicated on mocking others for their opinions that are bad because they aren't maybe as informed as we are. So in a sense, that could be viewed as a form of gatekeeping behaviors.
But
I'd say my gate is open. The gate to good ideas is wide open.
I don't, and it's stuck on a whiteboard. We're aware, but and I feel we don't on the show. We don't like look down on people for their level of fandom or their knowledge of what they know. Like, we'll make fun of stuff they say, sure,
right.
But it's not like you're not a real fan because you only paint the minis, or you like that has no place anywhere.
I agree with that,
and it makes me
But there's not
you believe, but like, I mean, honestly though, Danny, like if you believe that your rear guard comm weapons and their beams affect the units in front of them, like they're not real fans.
No, that's true.
No.
You're just a garbage person.
You're
Kelsey in chat letting us know gatekeeping is terrible, insinuating I missed the T instead of P instead, which is just fantastic.
There were a lot of bad outs in the way that you mispronounced that originally, so I'm glad that we wound up there.
Me too. Hey, let's talk about failed pitches. So I just want to say every week I send Kicker a Facebook Messenger post.
Are we just going to look at the whiteboard?
Telling him that's too sad and real. This one's a joke. Every week I send Kicker a Facebook Messenger post telling him to make a new product for Frontline. And every week he rightly tells me they're trash and then asks me who I am. This week I sent him the FLG official dice popper. What this is here, I found it on the internet. It's 2 Blood Bowl dice within a frustration dice popping apparatus. Daddy, as a competitive player, what are your thoughts on using a dice popper for dice rolling?
Oh, I'm very pro dice popping. Can you imagine the sound of a tournament totally populated by dice poppers?
So LVO, right? 1,200, 1,500 players, whatever it is, just 750.
Yeah, just deafening. And but John, remember that it's not just one person rolling the dice either. It's going to be like both people back and forth rolling dice like constantly.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Well, you know though, like we would be guaranteed to improve the popularity of these tournaments because it's fun getting into trouble.
It is. It is.
Sorry.
What are some of the drawbacks of using the dice popper?
No way to, or a difficult time in interacting with dice inside of it to like, make, I need to roll 10 dice.
Reroll
I'm
once.
just going to roll
Real
this
tricky.
2 dice 5 times. Help me count how many hits I
Click,
get.
click, 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 click.
Um,
Oh. Yo,
Dear friend
what's another
Stephen Pamprine had not a dice popper, but what he called the dice rattle, which was when he was playing 8th edition Orcs. It was just a very large Rubbermaid container that he would shake above his head, and
Oh,
it would,
yeah,
and it would all the dice would sort of like settle into little nooks to make it easier for him to count. So also
Now
terribly
just
loud and annoying.
replace that one with 30 dice poppers, and he's just going along the table like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, there you go, Val. Book it for the championship table at LVO. Just 30 dice
monetization right
poppers.
there.
Can we
aside.
brand this with FLGN? No,
Heck yeah.
actually, no. This
yeah.
will be this should be unique. This should be the Grim After Dark dice popper. We can put some
we'll just have
FLGN dice in there. How many
we
units
can
do we
use
have
this
to
for-
buy? What's
Guys,
the
we have
commitment here?
1 year to patent this now.
No, okay, so let's do this. Let's just have it and tell them they have to use it for deciding who deploys first or who chooses what side. The dice popper.
No, this is how at official U.S. Open tournaments they will determine tiebreakers. Dice pop.
It
Pop.
is
One pop, one
more. It is more competitive than rock paper scissors. That's for
Tie
sure.
pop. I love
This
it.
is it. One pop
Guys,
for all the marbles.
More news. More news is coming
Isn't it
in.
2?
And I will have. I'll have more bad product ideas. I do actually email Kicker and be like, "Hey, do this," and he's like, "No." But hey, we have more product ideas later. More news though coming from the world of professional chess, as the nearest comparison to Comp 40K is professional chess. Sorry, competitive Fortnite, you're not close. As a top player, was Mark parried in the main hall in front of people. In that way, they removed his shoes and socks in order to check him for cheating. Daddy, you okay there?
Yeah, that was a good joke, John. I like that one a lot.
Yes, I got one.
He wasn't quite rich, but he was definitely Mark parried.
It was Mark parried. No
Fair.
socks, no shoes, against his will.
Yeah.
But what checks does 40K need to have? We have LVO, the biggest LVO ever, coming around the corner. What checks does 40K need to have to ensure people are not cheating? Do we need to strip people of shoes and socks before they enter the hall?
Full body scans, John, and I don't want to see anything less than that. I think I mean, like a Warhammer tournament is harder than flying on an airplane. So why shouldn't we have the same kind of security measures?
Guys, you were asking Kelsey, you're like, are Danny and John going to be doing LVO coverage? No, security. Getting into the main hall.
That's right.
Get those belts and shoes off.
What do you think's going to bounce you out of that
Now-
place? John and I wearing very spiffy uniforms.
We all know the only thing that is prevented from entering the hall is outside food and beverage. That's it. If you are not outside food and beverage, you can get in there, no problem.
Right.
And let me tell you, that works 100% of the time, and there is no official way to smuggle in outside food and beverage. It is a very legitimate system.
Yep.
Maybe your FLGN branded backpack with secret beverage holder. And
Camelback.
Oh, you mean the speakeasy model?
the old speakeasy FLGN backpack.
Guys, that's why they chose the Rio. It's the tunnels beneath the Rio from the tower to the room.
That's how they transport all the tables there, actually, is what I have heard.
Oh. Well, so guys, on a serious note, what are some high-tech ways that you could imagine cheating at Warhammer 40K? We know the low-tech ways. There's jokes about them on the set right here. What are some high-tech ways you can cheat at Warhammer?
I've got some. I'll
Go
let you
ahead, Danny, please.
No, please. No.
No, all I could think of was maybe like Google Glasses.
Oh.
Like Google Glass, but like someone's playing the game on TTS for you. Just like how it's like how they cheat in chess. So you just have a raw feed of a good player simulating your game on TTS.
If it's TTS, you're going to be like, I just need 3.5 hours for this movement phase. Give me 1 second here.
Look,
The easiest way to cheat, I guess, probably, I don't know. So many mean things just popped in my head. I don't want to say any of them because I'm very Canadian. Go ahead, Danny.
oh, I was going to say,
Magnets.
are you familiar with the that Oros ring? Do you know the one I'm talking
Oh,
about?
like
ring?
the NBA player thing, like with the vital signs and stuff.
Yeah, but on your penis, and
Right.
it can vibrate at a certain at a certain
Yes.
frequency to indicate certain moves that you need to be making.
Yes.
We have to check this player. He's dangerously aroused at this moment.
Yeah. This player needs to sit down. That's like just the only notification you get from the Oros app if you're a 40K player. Sit down.
It was a real mistake in his methodology to wear those gray sweatpants to the
Can you
event.
pass me this? No, I cannot. Moving on. We see some of the chess security that's happening at high level tournaments in this next slide here, as we see a gentleman scanning a banana. This is a legitimate picture of something that happened at a chess event to make sure that there was nothing hidden in the banana.
Right.
Guys,
Banana
what are we
tailpipe?
scanning in 40K? What are we scanning in 40K to make sure there's
Manny
no cheating?
Chima's chess clock.
Ooh, yeah, make sure
You
there's
got
no
to have
tampering.
real things that actually exist, man. There's no chess clocks that can contain Manijima.
It's filled with bananas.
Oh,
Fair.
I hope so.
2 jokes now this week that were pretty good.
I hope so.
But all making fun of people. But yeah, Danny, what are we scanning? What's in your 40K thing that we scan?
Oh yeah, dude, we're scanning Forge World models for the
Like
right
core
kind of resin.
samples.
Yeah. At LVO, Danny and I will be by the main door with the entire Forge World catalog and a scale, so we can match your model to the appropriate Forge
And we'll be
World
taking
model.
a core sample of your models.
Just drilling it right on in there.
I think honestly you
try
can
and avoid
detect
the
them just with
face.
like a VOC monitor, like to detect air quality. Just put that next to some of that stinky Chinese resin. You're gonna find the frauds in no time.
Sorry, Shadow Specters. I gotta get a core sample. Just man. Oh, well, hey, that's all the 40K that we have for this week. And we're about to wrap this up. Guys, this has been a blast. I'm very sad that I was stuck in chat with the nerds last week. But
yeah, it was too bad, right, Danny? We were just it was
a shitty show anyway, John.
Yeah, it
Thanks.
was.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
didn't really
what
miss
like
anything.
how like Daddy goes like, oh, there's no show without you, and then when I'm off, you're like, oh, let's get Adam Camilleri, like the voice of fucking professional 40K. Like, okay, cool, yeah. Seems like I'm easily replaceable.
Do I take Adam Camilleri for granted? I don't know. I mean, he's definitely he's omnipresent.
The voice of modern 40K, 9th edition.
He's the fastest speaker in the Dark Imperium, maybe, but like I wouldn't say that he's the voice of 40K.
You know, though, who is the voice of 40K and a very popular personality figure?
Steve Joel.
Steve Joel. I guess Steve Joel.
We have a Christmas episode coming up, and it's tradition on Grim After Dark that our Christmas episodes have literally nothing to do with 40K. This year, we're even involving Val rather than just surprising him by showing up and just not talking about 40K for hours. And this next slide is going to show you what we're going to be doing on the 19th. Grim After Dark is going to be doing a Christmas with the Falcon. A very special Christmas episode, guaranteed to have as much match play content as the Ark of Omens release is coming up. Guys, we're talking Avatar 2, The Way of Water, and I cannot be more excited. And I'm sorry, I know Warhammer Fantasy is niche content that people love, and this will be niche content people don't love. But there's going to be...
I think probably one of the largest movie releases of the year is the least niche content we will ever do.
Probably. That's probably correct, yeah.
For our viewership, very niche. Very niche. But yes, I'm very excited. I told my wife I'm going to go see it. She was like, "Do you want to see it because you're excited?" I'm like, "No, I think it's going to be really bad." But yeah, we're going to see animal hair sex. We're going to see people in blue, some oceans. It's going to be good. I'm very excited. Val, are you excited to take part this year?
Let's give her a go. I love going to the movies. My wife loves popcorn. My son's only 2, though. He's going to be a bit disruptive in there, but I'm sure he'll be able to hang on.
but he'll be there opening weekend for the biggest cinematic release of his entire life.
Whoa.
That's all I know.
Let's see.
Danny is
Rough
going to
equivalent,
quickly find an IMAX theater.
I think
on
I
the
figured
back
out how I
road.
can do this. I need to buy a ticket tonight, though.
Dude, I love it.
Oh wow!
Do it.
Crack the code.
I think I
Drive
figured
in.
it out.
You're gonna do a drive in and
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to drive to Spokane, which is an hour and a half away, to get to the IMAX theater, because I've got to see this in IMAX, because like I want to see that hair sex so badly. It's just anyway. So like
there was someone at work who was like, "Why don't you like Avatar?" And I was like, it was very disturbing that the way the people are intimate together is having their hairs intertwined. And that is the same way that they ride animals. And she was like, "I've never thought of it like that before, and you've ruined this movie for me." And I'm like, "You are welcome." Yeah. But Danny, I'm very glad that you figured out a way through peer pressure and bullying.
I thought it was just the font choice on the poster that would have gotten you, but you've seen that bit, right? It's a very good bit.
Yeah. I have not, but I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah, go.
I'll share that offline. This show petered out like 4 or 5 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, it petered out a long time ago. We have Kelsey. Kelsey mentioning, "I miss John and Danny shilling for GW on the podcast." That's coming soon. You can't see this, but right up here is another camera that's going to help us shill. Very exciting stuff coming in. But Val, Danny, anything else you want to hit before we sign out for the night? Dead air is always good.
Yeah, hey, go watch Avatar so you can participate effectively and not get spoilers when we talk about this.
Oh, we're going to spoil the shit out of this.
Oh, no. But we'll definitely say in the thumbnail, no spoilers, but then spoil everything.
You know it's 193 minutes?
What?
Wow.
No.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, thank you, James Cameron.
That's more than... Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's more than 3 hours?
That is 3 hours and 13 minutes. Hey, there's no way you can tell this this thing over 5 or 6 movies. They have to be 5 or 6 3-hour movies.
I don't know how into this I am anymore.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk at least about the first 90 minutes of it. Guys, we're going to be back next week for our last regular episode of the year before we go into the road to LVO and Avatar and all that other kind of fun. Guys, I've been John, Danny, Val. Sorry about the lack of only 30% fantasy content this week. We'll be back next week. It's been pretty grim after dark. Maybe.
There it goes. Nice. My mic's still hot. Have a great night, everyone.